sure, but I've got lots more.
Senator Roberts.
Okay, thank you, Chair. The remaining questions go mostly to how ballots are moved. The movement of ballot papers continues to be something constituents ask my office about a lot. The Australian Electoral Commission moves ballots from pre-polls to regional counting centres as required to facilitate counting. Is that correct?
That's correct, Senator. That's correct, Senator.
The movement is done by AEC staff in private cars, their own cars presumably. The ballot boxes are sealed and there is a movement log to control the process. Is that correct?
That's correct, Senator. And each of the ballot boxes is sealed in the polling place in the presence of scrutineers. The seal numbers are recorded and so that's a tracked process.
Yeah, having scrutineered, I can verify that for the actual location but not the movement. Can I have a sample of the movement log, please, with personal identifying information redacted?
Sorry, can you...
Could I have a copy of the movement log, just a movement log, with the names redacted?
No, Senator. The time for the asking of those questions was in the 40-day period after the conclusion of the election, where those records are retained and open for people to examine. But in terms of movement logs, they are certifications signed by, to provide a chain of custody, signed by the officers at each point of the process. So it is inherently personal with their names, signatures and other issues, so I won't provide that.
Okay, I accept that. Does the log have the time the staff member left the pre-poll location and the time the ballots were signed into the regional counting centre?
I'm not sure, Senator. Possibly.
There is a possibility they could be left in the car overnight in the driveway, for example?
No, Senator.
No?
The material is returned.
Yeah, but what's the time elapsed from when it's removed and picked up, when it's deposited?
They leave the polling place and then go back to the outposted centre for the material to be collated and checked in.
Directly?
Directly.
Do you require staff transporting ballots to travel from point to point, so they're required to go straight from the pre-poll to the regional polling centre?
That's generally the assumption, Senator.
Is it an assumption? Do you require that?
Senator, there's, as you can imagine, there's hundreds of thousands of logistics routes that ballot papers travel during the course of an event, and each movement of ballot papers is planned and is signed off by the appropriate supervisor
the
at the
actual
AEC.
route used?
Yes, so we do route planning, and there is exception processes if there's if there is a long route to be travelled and a documented reason as to why a long route needs to be travelled. Our documentation supports that and is appropriately signed off, but there are a number of permutations that the movement may take depending on the complex logistics that the ballot papers have to travel.
Could concerns about the integrity of these ballots running around in private cars be alleviated using secure point-to-point couriers, equipped as couriers these days with GPS?
Senator, I don't think there'd be enough trucks in Australia. I'm serious.
We're talking about 8,000 polling places. We've already got 105,000 staff. Quite often these movements occur late in the evening effectively, Senator, that's a process that's not only used at federal elections but also state elections and has been used for 120 years without any mishap. So I'm very confident in the processes we've got in place.
So it's not a matter of cost because the Minister's just allocated $364 million for referendum. It's about logistics.
It would be a huge matter of cost, Senator, let alone if there's actually that number of trucks available at that time in Australia in those locations to do it.
That's what Mr Price, is it? Said.
Pope. I think.
Sorry. Have you personally examined the seal the AEC uses to seal a ballot box? Have you tried to open it without detection and generally assured yourself it's fit for purpose?
As it happens, I have, Senator.
Good.
And I'm very happy with those seals and I'm very happy with the process that we have in place.
Can I have one to examine?
Sure.
Thank you. Maybe that's a perfect video topic for you to quell any lack of confidence. For clarity, please, videos showing the movement of ballot boxes posted online appear to show 4 seals on a ballot box. Is that correct?
I haven't seen that, video that you're talking about, Senator?
We have a range of types of ballot box, Senator. It depends on which one you're referring to.
Okay. And each of the seals has a unique number?
Correct.
Correct? Right. All seals are accounted for at the end of the count?
Well, they're accounted for in the process of movement, Senator. They're recorded at the point of departure. They're recorded at the point of arrival. So in that case, they're accounted for.
Okay. Were any missing in the 2022 federal election, and were any duplicate seals, fake seals or boxes detected with broken seals?
No, absolutely not.
Do you do a reconciliation on ballot papers printed and ballot papers accounted for at the end of the process?
Yes, we do, Senator.
What do you do? What was the figure in May 22 for unders or overs? 0 would be impossible, of course. We understand the logistics effort. There had to be some variance. What is that variance?
Could you clarify what you mean by unders and overs, please, Senator?
Well, comparing ballot papers printed and ballot papers accounted for, sometimes one would be higher than the other. So what is that variance?
We don't have that to hand.
No, you wouldn't have it here.
I'd have to... Let me take that on notice, Senator.
That's fine, thank you. What was the figure in May 2022 for unders and overs? Oh, sorry. Watermarks on a ballot paper a feasible security option?
Our ballot papers are watermarked, Senator.
Okay. Shows you I don't pay much attention. Close enough.
It's deliberately, difficult to detect perhaps, but very obvious to electoral administrators.
Okay.
Correct.
Are you examining online voting? This is just a matter of curiosity. Are you examining online voting? Because I know some university academics have a system for secure online voting using blockchain technology. Minister or Mr. Rogers?
Well, Senator, it's a very interesting question. If you wanted a very short answer, the answer would be no. But for us, paper-based voting has a number of security aspects that are almost impossible to replicate online. But I guess there is a point at which, at some point in the future, supply of paper and printing is going to be an issue for Australia in the sort of quantities that we're talking about. So we're not there yet, but a point that will need to be looked at. But we're not examining, just to be very clear, we're not examining any online or electronic voting system for use in any federal election, referendum or by-elections.
I'm with you. I like the paper system. It's very hard to corrupt because there are always people around. So, will you be using scanning to count the referendum or manual count?
Manual count, Senator.
That's why the cost is so high, $364 million.
Handcrafted.
Sorry?
Handcrafted.
And how will scrutineers be picked? Because it's not a matter of parties having scrutineers they can put forward, but there's some people loosely on a yes, loosely on a no campaign. How will you select scrutineers?
Legislation is slightly different for the appointment of scrutineers at the referendum, so it can be through the registered officers of political parties, but also the state governor, state governors, I should say, and the Governor-General can also appoint scrutineers, and that's pretty much the process, I think.
Or the state governors and the Governor-General can appoint an authorised person who can appoint those scrutineers on their behalf, but just to be precise around your question, it's got nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
So it's not our appointment.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. Who does it? I didn't think you'd be appointing.
No, I thought you said, how are you appointing scrutineers?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
I meant how would you allow scrutineers in?
So, yeah, again, the registered officers of registered political parties, state governor, Governor-General.
Thank you.
And can I just add the Chief Minister for the Australian Capital Territory and the Administrator of the Northern Territory as well.